Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 173, and today we're going to be doing battle in the Gauntlet. And so, this is our last chance Gauntlet before the last chance Gauntlet comes up. I guess this is the last standard Gauntlet before the last chance Gauntlet comes up. So we're going to be trying to get our last Prime Glory, get those buys right into the finals. And so, as we start out this video, if you want to skip ahead to the gameplay, we're going to be playing RNG Ramp, we're going to play Trundlemere, and we're going to play Jack's Timelines. And as I always say in these, I'm not going to do individual deck guides on any of this stuff. I'll talk about the matchups here for a little bit and some of the specific card choices within the decks, but the deck lists themselves and individual gameplay guides, you'll have to scroll through the rest of the channel. And so to dive on in, we've already spoiled what we're going to be playing. We're going to play Trundle Feel the Rush, Trundlemere, as I like to call it, Aurelion Soul Ramp with the Mount Targons, and Jack's Vi. And then the idea behind this list is I was looking for decks that were good against Gangplank Sejuani. That's the top deck down here in the aggro stuff we're cool with deck. This is currently the big hype deck running throughout the game, and I suspect that we're going to see a lot of it. This is a deck that has really been around since the Rising Tides, and so if you've just played the game for a while and you go, oh, that deck, that's something I remember. That's supposed to be good. I feel like I can play with that. And so I feel like that kind of mentality is going to be kind of rampant out here, and we'll probably see a bit of Gangplank Sejuani. And then the next kind of piece of the puzzle is the top deck that is good against Gangplank Sejuani is Eve Viego or Evelyn Viego, and I wanted to be good against that as well. And so where that kind of put us was in a space to where the Aurelion Soul Ramp deck is good, the Trundle Feel the Rush deck is good, and the Trundle Timelines deck is good. But we can't play Trundle in two separate decks, and so I opted to go with the Trundle Feel the Rush deck and then pivot off to a different Concurrent Timelines deck. So we'll be playing the Jack's Vi deck. And so for the most part, the matchups I expect, I think I'm pretty happy with how our matchups look. If we end up with a lot of these kind of control deck lineups, as we are seeing in the previous weeks, that were just real slayers against the rally kind of archetypes, I think we should be pretty decent. That being the kind of collection of Shadow Isles-based decks like Evelyn Viego, Nora Heimerdinger, the Darkness deck, and Nasus Kindred. I suspect we'll see quite a bit of that, and we can handle it pretty reasonably well. The big deck that we're looking to ban out today are the deny decks, right? If we're looking to play Feel the Rush and our opponent is able to counter our 12-cost spell with a 4-cost spell, it just leaves you with a gigantic tempo disadvantage. And so I want to just come out and ban the deny decks. Now, the thing that kind of interests me with this lineup is, on the one hand, I really don't like banning Nami, Twisted Fate, and the Gauntlet. And that's not to mean a lot of disrespect to the players of the game, but for the most part, whenever we see people play Nami, Twisted Fate, and Gauntlet, they play it horribly bad. And so it feels not awesome to have to ban it out. I did physically play against Drissoth earlier today, and that is the kind of person that this lineup is actually meant to be reasonable with. As if you have a true master like Drissoth at the Nami Twisted Fate, he usually sits around in the top 10 of the ladder playing it. That's the one where we're kind of getting a reasonable ban, but just the kind of rando, hey, look, I picked up a deck because it has a good win rate player is going to play Nami Twisted Fate exceptionally bad. And so we are kind of rolling the dice on this strategy where we're designing a deck list around, or a set of decks around banning out Nami Twisted Fate, but at a bare minimum, it should be a good practice round for the Last Chance Gauntlet and for Seasonals as to where I feel like Nami Twisted Fate becomes a much more prevalent deck and something that we're looking to ban out. And so, last but not least, the kind of things that this deck doesn't want to deal with. Aurelion Soul does not handle aggro decks particularly well. It can still come out and beat pirates and such, but the matchup isn't very good. We're kind of hoping that the meta just pushes the aggro decks out of the format, but that is the kind of big weak point to our deck is Aurelion Soul against aggro decks. That's here in the middle. And then up here at the top right, we have the remaining decks that I would like to ban out if they magically pop up. This is where you have either more counterspell-based strategies like Nasus Kindred, or you have your big, high-powered mid-gamey plays like you have from Tundle Timelines or Poppy Tarek. Not really looking to play these decks, but if it comes down to it, we're going to look to ban out the Deny deck. The last thing I wanted to call out here is it does strike me as odd that the Aurelion Soul deck functions so well against Gangplank Sejuani. I did want to go and kind of like double check on the sources of data with this, and that looks pretty spot on. We did go over to Balco's site at lor-meta.com, go up to the little archetype analyzer thing that's up here in the tools button. And if we look at the past 3 days of Masters matchups, Gangplank Sejuani has been getting, fairly thoroughly trounced by Aurelion Soul. And so, I'm sorry, we pulled up the Trundlemere. That could be a potential problem. Hang on. Let me see how it looks with the Ramp Aurelion Soul. If I actually pick the correct deck, maybe it's closer to 50-50 now. It's still up there, about 56% against Gangplank Sejuani. And so, interesting and good. And so the deck lists themselves, Zoe, Aurelion Soul. This is the same version we've been playing over the past week or two. The kind of highlights to this are we do try to minimize the amount of pain we suffer against the decks with denies in them. And so we are playing the full 3 copies of She Who Wanders and the 3 copies of It That Stares. This being that if we spend 10 mana on a She Who Wanders and the Obliterate gets denied, it's not like a complete disaster, right? We're still getting a 10-10 unit on the board or an 8-8 out of the It That Stares. You probably lost the game at that point, right? Because that is a pretty huge tempo swing still, because you're probably planning on killing 3 or 4 units, but having the complete card just get denied doesn't happen when we're dropping units. Otherwise, we are having a bit of the big package. We have the full 3 copies of Feel the Rush. I would like to fit in one more copy of Voices of the Old Ones. I think that's more of a seasonal style strategy as to where we just go all in on aggro not showing up. But for right now, we're only playing the 1 copy of Voices of the Old Ones, 3 Blighted Ravines, 2 Avalanches. And so our next one, this is a fairly standard Trundlemere deck. This can't support nearly as much top end because it doesn't have Mount Targons in it, but a lot of the same ideals here. We're playing 3 It That Stares, 2 She Who Wanders as the big, hey, I can survive a deny. Since we can't go like ultra big with this, you do have access to Buried in the Ice, so we have 2 Buried in the Ice to go along with the 3 It That Stares, so you can do the Buried in the Ice, It That Stares combo a bit in the early game, and then only 2 copies of Feel the Rush, not 3. So otherwise pretty standard across the board in the Trundlemere deck. Last but not least, we'll be playing Jax Vi, and this is pretty standard as well. Nothing too tricky happening in here. We're playing the 2 copies of Aloof Travelers. I could potentially look to move this up to 3 as we move on to seasonals, but I think I've been happy with 2 up to this point. And so, those are the decks. We can go ahead and get ourselves ready for battle. You all know what we have to do before the battles begin, though. We have to pay the pay-to-win price. And we do have this Blades of the Fallen up here. I was pretty excited about this one. If the Blades pops off, you get the Acathian Mirage. The Mirage comes out premium. It's a little double dose of premium, and that makes it triply good. A double dose of premium equals triple good for those of you all doing the mathematics at home. So, Jack's Timelines, RNG Ramp, Trundlemere, Feel the Rush. Let's head on into battle. And so I still can't like entirely decide how I feel about a lineup like this. I feel like I really like just bringing good decks, and I feel like we're kind of in that space, but a little bit down in the kind of tier 2 land as opposed to being up in tier 1. But here we have found a lineup that we are very agreeable against. Right? They have the Sejuani deck we're all positive against. They have the Nora Heimerdinger deck, which only Jax Vi is weak to, and then Ezreal Kennen, which we're going to ban. The Ezreal Kennen is kind of equally bad against some of our decks, but that is the deck they're playing that has Deny in it. And now I think both of these matchups are reasonably okay. I'm going to lead these off with the Aurelion Soul deck. The thing that I have with these Mount Targon and big ramp-based decks is that you do occasionally run into games to where you just mulligan and you have a hand of like double Feel the Rush, It That Stares, Sunburst. And it's just like you are absolutely never winning that game. And so I like to have a little bit of edge in those scenarios so that we can look to mulligan or get another shot if we run into a bad mulligan. Okay, so we have the big turn 4 Targon's Peak start if we want. we need some big stuff to go along with it, and we did just pick up the Ithit Stairs. Absolutely fantastic start for us, though. Opponent didn't have a 1-drop. Really slows them down. If you are familiar with our strategy against the Sejuani Gangplank deck, when we're able to go about it, is we really want to deny them every opportunity that they have to plunder, and him not having a plunder until turn 3 should indicate, or not a plunder, just a Nexus strike, should indicate that they can't hit their Sejuanis anytime soon. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put Zoe on the board. If she gets like parlayed or make it rains or whatever, I don't care. We're about to build up to the Targon's Peak, and with the Peak, I don't want to be hitting a 1-mana unit. So not going to attack. I don't want to add the star chart to our hand. I want to maximize our chances of hitting one of these big, expensive spells. Of course, ideally, She Who Wanders or Feel the Rush. All right. Roll the dice. Clackety clack, here it comes. I'm curious if he was going to hit the mana on his Faces of the Old Ones. That would be a little absurd had he pulled it off, but not the case here. All right, well, we're about to get boomed for this round, hitting the Blighted Ravine. Not ideal. We'll go ahead and add the Kindly Tavern Keeper. This is going to prevent a little bit more damage if it survives. Oh my god. That is, what a joke that is. Okay. Not sure why the Sermon came down as a 1-1, but are we just dead? 5, 6, 13 coming in? Oh, Jesus. Okay. I was feeling pretty good about this match until we airballed on the Targon's Peak. We do at least get quite a bit of cleanup through this. Just Gangplank, Jagged Butcher on board. Here goes the Ithit Stairs. So he'll get to hang on to his Gangplank, but we should smoke all of his units, everything out of his hand. We'll see if he still has a Sejuani to go along with it, but pretty big turn. Right, the way that the Gangplank Sejuani deck really starts to give you problems is if we get our big board, right? We have Aurelion Souls and Zoes and everyone on board, then he has the flipped Sejuani and is able to frostbite them all pretty much all the time. But I think this looks decent. I think we're kind of safe to risk the Ithit Stairs. Like, how bad could this go? Oh my god, he's hit Riptide Sermon 2 times in a row with the Mount Targon. But he shouldn't have any more. I think this is okay. Like, if he's going to realistically kill She Who Wanders, it's going to be with Gangplank plus a spell. He should have, like, a pretty tough time dealing 3 damage to She Who Wanders without another Riptide Sermon. And so I think we should be okay here. Now we're looking good, right? We're going to have the ability to block this Gangplank. I feel like that was probably a mistake of a block. He should have just taken the 10, tried to attack around us for 3, and then perhaps won the game with a warning shot or whatever. Uh-oh. Gangplank parlay to the face. That gets a Gangplank flip. We're going to have to Ithit Stairs him away immediately. Don't want to be taking these Gangplank shots from his ability. And then we still have the mana to follow up with Feel the Rush. Oh, Gangplank number 2. Oh boy. Let's see what we're in for. His attack alone will be enough to take us down to 1. And so I would like to get the Feel the Rush on the board. He's like a warning shot we can't deal with. Parlay we can't deal with. But if he's going to try and hit us with a Make It Rain, then we have a potential out. Okay. No complaints there. Most definitely blocking. We fall to 1. Doesn't feel good, but again, he's going to need like a warning shot to just to hit us at burst speed. He can't. We're trying to get out of the spot to where he could just like hit us with a parlay. So if we draw a heal, I'll play it before we attack. Right? If we find a kindly tavern keeper and can go up to 4, then I think that'll be okay. But otherwise, we're just going to have to send in the squad and hope. Do it right now. Do not die to a warning shot. All right, that should do it. And so, you know, not too much hate to opponent, but I feel like if this was seasonals, we probably would have lost that game. But, hey. Zoe asks, how do you like them sparkles? She likes them enough to get us through. GG. All right, on to the old Jack's timelines. And so here, we'll definitely hang on to the timelines. Ideally, we would have a 1-drop. And so if we come up with like a Zonite Urchin, which we found here, and say opponent leads with a rando dude, whatever, Jagged Butcher, we can like wait, right? Again, what's our big strategy? Everyone knows our big strategy in this match. It is don't take damage from the plunder things. And so I think we just pass here. I don't want to risk it. I don't feel like we're going to get... I don't feel like we're going to get gamed here to where we play the concurrent timelines and he goes, LOL, watch this, it's Jagged Butcher and attacks. But this is still ultimately pretty safe to wait a turn. Now I'm going to go with the Urchin. We'll pass on Reggie. The idea with this is we can bank up 2 mana next turn. And so if we get to play the Castaway, we can still Mystic Shot. Maybe we should just get rid of the Combat Cook. He's a little expensive. All right, Forge Chief unfortunately doesn't have 2 health, but I still like our strategy here. Yep. Gonna go ahead and prevent that. Just lighten the load a little bit if we can. Right, Reg. Give us something good. Do we ever use a Hextech Transmogulator? This is like, again, in this matchup, I don't really care about the units. It's all about the champions, and so let's just go ahead and get that dumb champion off of the board. I do like Bandle Commando here, though. It just gives us the opportunity to get that 1-cost unit on the board next turn. No complaints there. Now, how do we feel about this upcoming turn, right? If we want to use our Aloof Travelers to try and spike a champion, we would be on the Gangplank turn now, or if we wait till next turn would be the Sejuani turn. I think I'm okay until waiting on the Sejuani turn, so I'm just going to go ahead and drop the Castaway, and then save the Travelers for the next round. This still lets us come in with the follow-up 1-health play. It's like I'm eyeballing this Sparklefly. I think that's the way to go. It's going to be equipped. It's going to gain us a bunch of health here. Hey guys, watch me just play elusives. Hey guys, watch this. Okay. Right, now we have our additional blocker. He got wider than us, is what it is. We were fighting for it. We were getting close. Stand United's kind of interesting. We want to protect a block, and then he doesn't have Gangplank. I think we still just have to go with the Aloof Travelers, but Stand United is kind of cool here. What do we got? Looking at the Yordle Captain.
You dropped something. I dropped everything.
Just make all of our units the biggest of booms. Okay, well, we got the Dreadway out of his hand. That's something that we definitely struggle to beat. Taking all the entrancing lures. He gets our combat cook and our entrancing lure. Alright, I guess. If that's the way it's gonna be. Prevent as much as we can. Take 1 this way. Take +1 this way. So let's switch our block up a little bit. All right, I mean, so health-wise, we're doing pretty good. We got rid of the Dreadway. It's going to be a matter of if we can handle the big champions coming at us. Here, I'm going to pick up the Fish of Whack. I want to have that. I want to have the Overwhelm for if we ever draw Vi. That's one of our big ways to close out these games, is giving Vi Overwhelm while she has 10 power. So I don't think the tough is super important at the moment. Okay.
Got more whoa. This ain't just a lamb.
All right, battle time. Another owl, please. There's the Gangplank. It was only a matter of time, right? He had to hit a champion at some point. Might be able to deal with him, though. How do we feel about pushing the Fix Him Up to give Jax 5 attack? And then we can protect through Gangplank next turn with the Counter Strike. I think I'm pretty on board with this. And then the Owlcat has a little bit of protection here as well, right? It's got the spell shield to stop the Gangplank blast. The Harrowing. How nice you would have been next turn. You would have been nice.
Full of pain. Light 'em up. You're gonna want
Alright, so Counter Strike onto Jax. Gonna block the Gangplank. Otherwise, got a decent block onto the Merchant. How much damage do we have to preserve here? Well, we're gonna lose our Bandle Commando anyways, right? So we might as well block. Okay. Not bad. Champion dealt with. Can't ask for too much more. Alright, and then end with the combat reel. Have we damaged the enemy Nexus this round? I don't believe we have. It'll be kind of challenging to do next turn. Oh, he's got Gangplank number 2. Okay. Okay. How do we deal with that? You gotta pick up a... not Blades of the Fallen. We gotta pick up a... Challenger card. Do we ever want a Wings of the Cryo Phoenix here? Deal 3 to all units so we kill everything except Gangplank. I think we gotta wait and see how he blocks. I don't like it. Hang on, let's time trick. Mystic Shot is kind of a maybe. It would let us Wings of the Cryo Phoenix this turn and then Mystic Shot Gangplank down next turn. Maybe that's just where we're stuck. Gonna get him with those puff caps. That's how this game's gonna end. That's how this one's gonna end. Alright, so 3 damage to all the units. We'll get the little dum-dum back with the equipment attached to him. And then we've got this Mystic Shot into Gangplank now. Oh, no, we don't. F. Didn't consider the equipment coming back down. And the Sejuani? Uh-oh. I don't know if we can recover here.
You own what you take.
It's quite a bit of damage coming at us.
Bleed out.
Man, I was feeling so good once we took down that first gangplank, but this has been a real challenge of units coming up after the fact.
You face a ghost.
What you got for us, deck?
I will.
Vi in parts made whole. We Mystic shot the thing in the back. Looks like we're still dead. All right. Oof. GG. All right, up to our battle against Nora. That's tough. It's tough to see it like that. I mean, I guess we drew 2 champions to his 3, but I still just always have this lingering feeling that the Gangplank deck is just garbage. and once people adapt a little bit to just being able to deal with single target champions, then it kind of falls out of favor from that point forward. But it's good enough for victory there, am I right? Okay, so up against Nora, I'm just going to hard mulligan for the timelines. These cards here aren't super important. If we mulligan into another random 2-drop, great. But the timelines is the one we're looking for here. Found it like a boss. Okay, so let's get started with timelines things. Come in with the combat reel. We got a lot of stuff in hand to spend mana on. Do not want a ribbon dancer, so at least take the fearsome unit.
Enders out here.
Pretty good chance he can't block it. God, we got cats. It's a dumb one. He wasn't sure. He was sure he wanted to come in when he was just scraping on the door. As soon as you opened the door, he just stared at me. So, is the dumb one. You don't know which cat it was, the dumb one. Oh, now he's going to meow and want to hang out. Oh my gosh. Why do these games have to be so hard? So here, I think we just want the Pot of Pain. We get the big back end on it. Now Startled Stomper has Overwhelm. Looks like a pretty good unit to me. We just have to have these ways to punch in damage against this dumb deck. And so having a Fearsome unit along with an Overwhelm Impact gives us some options for slamming that damage in. Just don't want to be stuck like dropping Jaxes on the board and then the opponent's like, LOL, we got a we got a hate spike for that. So it's been nice kind of stalling with him until a little bit later in the game. God. Come on, dude. Cat. Come here. Telling you, he's dumb. He is dumb. So where are we at? Punching in for 6. Not losing anything. That all looks good to me. We have some mana backed up for a time trick. Absorb Soul. Let's see what you're doing there. Okay. Come on. You was just like physically playing Absorb Soul, right? You didn't have a way to just generate it. Interesting. But here with this hand, do we actually want any of this? I mean, it's like we can pick up Fareth and then put discard the unit to the Hearts Made Whole. None of that sounds particularly exciting. I think we just want like a bigger unit for next turn, but we do have a 3 bank, and we could try to Parts Made Whole into just like literally any unit in our deck. And I think that'll be fine, so.
If you're gonna sit down, make sure you stretch.
This is our first summon of the turn, though. No, it's not. Okay. Yes, it is. Okay. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Got this kitty here to help out, though. So do we want to put the scout thing onto here? I think it's okay. Like, what else are we going to put the scout item onto? It would be okay on Ruinous Acolyte. He probably couldn't block it, but... Well, we probably don't want to just be making, like, any attack here, right? We might just get, like, a super high-powered unit with Combat Cook and then want to swap the item back down. Probably not. I am interested in this Grizzled Ranger with Fearsome, though. And we could now push the upcycled Rake over onto our Ruinous Acolyte, and then have a double Scout attack next turn. I don't hate it.
Off we go.
Does drop him down to 1 health, though, which is a little unfortunate. Okay. What did you portal? I bet it's a Fearsome blocker. We can't see it yet. Told you. Let's go visit www.betterluckythangood.com. Okay. All right, you got to get down, Cat. Come on. How sick was this going to be if he didn't hit a 3-power unit? Very is the answer to that. Ah, we set that up so well just to get denied. Okay. Now we have to start getting these dudes on board. Can't wait too long to get this board built up. I mean, what happens if you put 2 of these Blades of the Fallen on a unit? I don't know if I've done that before.
For Acacia! And you know what? Also for me!
Immediately draw the Yeti. That's about right. That's about right. I did the mathematics on if that was about right, and it was. We do have a little protection here in the Mystic Shot, but... Whew. What was that website again? I think it was www.betterluckythangood.com. I'm not meaning to talk trash about Nurka here, but one must admit that that was a very favorable run of cards to hit a 3/3 off of the portal and then immediately land on your 5/5 unit as your top draw. Just saying. It's a fortunate collection of events. And the Vengeance onto Jax. Okay. At least keep the weapon around.
Just a lamb.
Right. All Alright, so I'm not really excited about Fereth as being our 1-cost play for the turn. We'll drop the Parts Made Hold, discarding Combat Reel. See if we can't pick up a little bit more expensive of a unit to get with our concurrent timelines play. What you gonna pick up, Conchologist? We really need to be getting a big open attack on our next turn, and so we'll see how this plays out. We don't really have the time to be playing a bunch of rando spells. Maybe we'll make an exception for Vi, but I'm still kind of leaning towards, like, she's not built up. I'm leaning towards just dropping the aloof. Hopefully this will discard a mini morph or something. Oh god, maybe it'll discard the Ruination. But get us in a better spot for attacking here. Sad face for bro. So how much of this stuff do we have time for? It's like, are we realistically going to run into a like a Ruination next turn? Probably not, but it's probably not worth risking it since we can burst the Sandstorm Amulet out of our hand, right? So if we say Mystic Shot this 3-power thing now, and then we maybe get to attack with a full board. So as it stands, his best block would be Conchologist onto Basilisk Rider. He'd be looking at 3, 6, 9, 10, 17 damage coming in. He doesn't have any portals. I think we're okay. Seems like a good spot. Squad. We should have probably little to big this, but you know how it goes sometimes. You just gotta push the squad in the middle and see how it turns out. All right, card number 1 coming at us. What's it gonna be? Many morphs aren't particularly good here. Vengeance would be a bit of a different story, but turning a 4/3 into a 3/3 is not the most effective use of 6 mana here. Alright, spell number 2 coming down. Vengeance and Hate Spike off of a block. Take him down to 1. Okay. He's still got to kill us next turn. That's kind of the big thing if we're going to get to come back at him at 1 health with a impact unit and such. Probably have a Vi down next turn as well. Give us some opportunity.
Yay, but our stuff didn't.
There goes a mini morph. Not so excited about that one. But we're looking pretty strong. Jack's ready to party. Now, okay, opponent concedes. I was going to say, like, we're in the spot to where we want to be putting the Light of Acacia onto Vi. If you play Vi, play the Light of Acacia, then play Jax, Jax will move it over, I believe. I'm pretty confident that's the way he goes. I had an opponent concede to that play. I was on the other side of the table, and they played the Jax with the light thing on the board. And they were, at the end of the day, not particularly happy. And so with this lineup here, again, we talked about Evelyn Viego. This is one of the things that we built our lineup around. We are okay and pleased to play against Evelyn Viego. That's the deck I'm trying to highlight on the screen. I'm curious what happens with the Aurelion Soul deck against our Aurelion Soul decks. I think I'm kind of like willing to battle against this rando control deck. I think both like Tryndamere and Aurelion Soul are going to be good against it, and he can't ban both of them. And so I think we can just take the Gwen deck out, because ultimately I do worry about stuff like the Harrowing. The Harrowing is going to be a bit of a pain in the butt. And so with these, I feel just like a little bit more confident in myself with the Mount Targon Aurelion Soul deck. Just I have a bit more experience with that one than with Trundlemere. So I'm going to bring Trundlemere out first. Give me all the ramp cards, please. So the thing you're ideally looking to do against these Thresh decks are just not put units on the board. I mean, we're going to be dropping Faces of the Old Ones at some point, but there's no like real reason to drop the Faces on turn 2, right? We're not ramping fast enough and doing anything with like a turn 2 Faces and then a turn 3 Catalyst. And so we can still just like play our Catalyst on turn 3, but I'm not going to add the Faces to the board until it's going to do something a little bit more relevant. Opponent's like, LOL, watch me bank all this mana. I don't know if he's dropping LOLs, but I certainly am. God, does anybody want a cat? Wasn't expecting to see Cursed Keeper come out of this deck, though. I wonder if it has a little bit more of those like value-based tendencies than I was really giving it credit for. We'll still clear out the Cursed Keeper, but curious now. I don't want to let him get a completely full board and then be like, LOL, it's Thresh. So feels safe to just go ahead and take it down now. We can add in the Faces of the Old Ones. If he doesn't kill it, then we'll have the 8 mana next turn for an It That Stares. So he should be a nice little board clear here. Definitely a nice little board clear. Sprinkle a little bit of salt on that one. Just a taste. Now, the scary thing is this Thresh is he's ticked up 4, and so we do have to give some amount of worry to this Thresh being able to flip and then pull out the Aurelion Soul. But we do have the answer to Aurelion Soul at the moment, which would be a Vile Feast into a Buried in the Ice. It's not the best or greatest answer, but it is an answer. Let's see if he gets a little bit more invested before we drop this second It That Stares. Or do we want to just go for the combo thing next turn? I think I would feel like a little bit safer just dropping the Buried in the Ice It That Stares, and then 2 turns from now we'll be able to feel the rush. And I guess another kind of angle with this is if he probably plays the Ruination. And so if we can have a lethal threaten with 2 It That Stares, we have some potential to we have some potential to get a follow-up Feel the Rush. Now, we can't get that follow-up Feel the Rush by Vile Feasting right here. That might be a bit too much. Interesting. But we'll see what happens. Right, if we didn't play that Vile Feast, we would have 2 mana bank now. Next turn, we'll go up to 9, play It That Stares for 8, bank the 3. Then he goes, oh, it's the Ruination. Then we say, cool, here's the Feel the Rush. That's how that sequence plays out. If you aren't if you aren't familiar. Do we ever just Buried in the Ice again? I don't think so. I'm not too worried about this Hydravine right now. I'm not entirely certain what I was expecting out of this deck, but this isn't it. I was not expecting Pale Cascades or Daybreak dudes or Invasive Hydravines. This is really kind of odd to me. I'm gonna block here with the Spiderling. I don't want it on the board against a Thresh deck, and the damage isn't going to be relevant. Interesting. All the Hydra Vines. We missed? We whiffed? Did we just spend 8 mana on the thing and not have anything in our top 5? Oh my god, does that shuffle your deck? It made noises, right? It shuffles our deck after that, after looking at the top 5. Ugh, that was brutal. All right, well, we're counting on you, Feel the Rush. You're going to have to do some work this game. This has been odd. Here, I mean, can this deck fit, like, Atrocity in it? That was the only reason I came in for a block there, was the worry of an incoming Atrocity. And if you're playing things like Pale Cascade and the Daybreak thing, you have to be able to play like 1 copy, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. Alright, so it's going to be tough to get the lethal this turn. Our Trundle doesn't have Overwhelm, and so he can look to trade Aurelion Soul into... or another unit into Trundle, right? He can say like Vile Feast, Arith that Stairs, and then hit with Trundle. It's gonna be a little unfortunate, but one step at a time. He would have Vile Feasted last turn if he had it, right? He could bury it in the Isis here. That would be the big boom. And I do keep getting stuck in my head that we're playing Aurelion Soul when we're completely not. So we got that problem on hand as well. I was expecting to have a spell shielded unit coming out of this. So I might be dead. Buried in the Ice would most certainly kill us here. But we made it this far.
Be quiet.
All right, that was a hush. This does, I mean, it kills the Trundle, sure, but I would call that a bit of a do nothing. He must be confident that he's getting out of this turn, though, if he's... Oh, that's interesting. You drop the hush onto Trundle and then move the block. Uh-oh. Mistakes may have been made. Maybe you realized you can't Vengeance a Tryndamere. I guess you can, but... Alright, well that feels a little lucky. I feel like that game was a bit sloppy on our end. We definitely left ourselves open to getting blown up, and I definitely had in the back of my head that we were playing Aurelion Soul. It's nothing could go wrong. Nothing could go wrong with that series of events. All right, do we get the Mount Targon mirror match? I want to see it. See it most definitely. A little bit of that hot Aurelion soul on Aurelion soul action. So I had this come up recently. We'll try to talk about this during this game. So, question for you folks in Europe: do you know what pizza rolls are? Do you have pizza rolls in Europe? It's an amazing American delicacy. And if you're not sure on how pizza rolls come into existence, the fuck is this? Can't did Riot listen in? They're hearing my pizza rolls story and they don't want to hear any of this shit. Got to restart the game. I think that's the safe way. All right, so let's see what happens. And so, I had. What the fuck? What are you doing, game? I restarted. The game loaded. Now we're stuck on loading. It's making some noises. Fucking Riot. Oh, there it goes. Okay, something loaded. Opponent failed to connect. Does that mean we just win? Apparently so. Guess opponent didn't restart the game fast enough. All right, so we can take a little pause before the next game. And so, if you're not familiar, it's an amazing American delicacy. We fixed some here recently for dinner. I had a family member that didn't like it. Pretty much every family member didn't like it. And I just assumed it was a delicacy that people the world over enjoyed. And so, a little history lesson. Back in the times of Jesus, the people in Italy figured out that if you put smashed up tomatoes and cheese and basil on top of a piece of bread and then eat it, it tastes pretty good. And so props to you. You designed pizza. High five. But as time moves on, the ways of the world spread out and the ways of the pizza spread out to Portugal or Spain, wherever Christopher Columbus was from. He got on the boat to America, sailed across, landed in New York, and said, "Hey guys, I got pizza. Do you want to try it?" And so everyone in New York loved it. They said, "Wow, this is great." They started designing their own pizzas, way better than anyone in Italy ever did. And then later on, as time moves on, time goes ahead, there's a board game designer named Ben Wyatt. He designed the board game The Cones of Doneshire. Now, he designed a thing called a calzone. A calzone is basically, if you take the same idea, you have your bread, your smashed up tomatoes, your cheese, and your basil, and then you just fold it in half. You now have a new handheld, easy to eat piece of food. Just one of the most wise inventions of all time. Now, a little bit further down the line, one of the most amazing food scientists at Totino's said, "Hey, if we take these little things and shrink them up into bite-sized nuggets, then you can have a little bite-sized pizza nugget. We'll call it a pizza bite or a pizza roll. You can slap it in the oven, and then you'll have a nice taste of Italy in your mouth over and over again." So good, so good. I appreciate whoever that food scientist was that changed the course of history. He really fed me through many years of college. And so, I don't know. I was worried that you all in Europe may not know what pizza rolls are. I know that pizza was first designed in Europe and then moved to America via Christopher Columbus. But on the way back, I'm not sure if the pizza roll made it back. Christopher Columbus got busy. He said, "Oh, fuck, I found gold. I better take all this gold back." Gold, corn, and horses are what Christopher Columbus found in America. He high-fived the Vikings on his way across the water, and he said, I'm gonna take credit for this. Okay, so what are we up against here? Nora Heimerdinger, never banning. Our other decks, he has the Winding Light Victor Aphelios, and he has some kind of Fiora number. I don't know what Fiora is going to be doing. I do imagine that Fiora does not want to play against Feel the Rush. And so there is a bit of worry in this action Fiora deck potentially having Rite of Negations, but maybe just one. And I feel like their general strategy is going to hate everything that we're doing. And so I'm going to ban out the Victor Aphelios and then go up to battle against whatever they want to do here. Now, like I said before, I'm going to be leading off with our Aurelion Soul deck. If we do come into one of these good matchups and find a hand with 3 Feel the Rushes in it, we're going to lose that game. And so I would like to kind of minimize the variance by bringing out this deck multiple times if we have to. Just imagine we mulliganed into this hand, right? We're looking for early game rampant Mount Targons. We mulliganed into this. We're probably going to lose that game. And so I like to have a couple of opportunities with this deck if we can. Case in point, right here. Yeah. A Star Shaping 2/8 drops in Aurelion Soul. No ramp in sight. Gotta have some opportunities here. If he's going to keep passing, we'll keep passing. I appreciate it. So we got Fiora. Do we want to run Faces of the Old Ones in the face of Fiora? Probably not. Let's just keep passing. We can drop a Blighted Ravine next turn. Ooh, right into the Targon's Peak. How the times change. How the times change. All right, our answer to Fiora down. Now, one of the... Aw, Chain Vest. F you, Hammer, bro. The game was supposed to be in the bag there. But no, the big thing that we have for this upcoming turn is say that we hit Faces of the Old Ones or something bad with our Mount Targon. We do still have the Celestial Wonder to come out and prevent a bit of damage. And so we should be fairly safe in this point. We should have a few opportunities to hit something good and stall a little bit with the Celestial Wonder. Okay. Dude played a bunch of cards. I'm sure they'd be relevant at some point in time. We landed on It That Stares. Beautiful. And so it's only 8. I feel like we can take it. It's not like he's going to hit us with Atrocity. Okay. So with this, I'm going to look to play the Star Shaping this turn. We could try and go big with the Voices of the Old Ones, but if we hit the Voices next turn, that's still fine. And I want to load up a big expensive into our hand here. We have the choice of the Immortal Fire or the Destroyer. I'm not sure how the Immortal Fire actually interacts with Fiora. I mean, it does die, right? If you read the card, it says the first time I would die. So I was just kind of like wondering, say, Fiora's a 10/10 and she hooks in the Immortal Fire. Does it count as a kill before it comes back? And it sounds like it does. So I'm going to pick up the Destroyer out of this one. He was ready for battle pretty much immediately. It's a big Fiora.
Precision and grace.
It's probably going to be some kind of barrier. We can Celestial Wonder out of it.
I have no time for fools.
It's too bad he didn't stay in front of the Destroyer. That would have been pretty cool. getting in that extra 7 overwhelm damage. He goes for a Rite of Calling. It's either going to be a action or a Fiora that he's picked up. I wonder if at this point in the game, like it's tough. I don't really want to get these Faces of the Old Ones on the board. Maybe we can more safely play it on our opponent's turn, right? Right now, we're at a 60% chance to hit an expensive card. It would be a lot cooler if we were at a 100% chance to hit an expensive card. And so there is some argument to drop these on the board. It's like, how much can he realistically kill with Fiora next turn? And it's probably a lot. it's probably a lot.
I will cut you down. Try me.
Is that a Fiora riposte? Yeah, that's probably what he hit with his thing. All right. So we got to try and go big. Decent chance that we lose the game next turn. Trying to think. I mean, we could have tried to pick up an Obliterate, but that's kind of hard to pull off. Let's see. So let's go with It That Stares. Right, if we'd taken that 10 mana Aurelion Soul Celestial kind of card, could have maybe picked something up. Ultimately worried about just dying to Concerted Strikes. Oh, sure, that's fine. Don't care about this dumb card. Okay. She Who Wanders would have been cool if Fiora only had less than 4 attack. Alright, very good chance we're dead. We could only drop Aurelion Soul, right? Because he's got the spell shield. I should know this. His flip doesn't get reduced by Targon's Peak, right? We got back here, Living Legends. It's not what we were looking for, but we'll pick it up. If we get a flip next turn, it might be worthwhile. I guess if we feel the rush out of this turn, Fiora technically shouldn't be big enough to get a kill. He's gonna need like a target, and he's going to need a barrier. Or just a target, right? He needs to get Fiora up to 10. That might be a lot to ask of someone. But we do put ourselves at risk with this Zoe coming onto the board. He can Sharp Sight, probably dead. See if he goes for the +2/+2 spell shield or the card draw. Yeah. I'm scared, guys. I'm scared, Fam Jam.
Such unrefined
It would be cool to know what size Zoe was right now. 6'10", looks like she's dead. Alright, GG. I think that's still probably a worthwhile attack. It's... Because, like, if he's going... It's like if he's going to have Quicksand... I don't know. Quicksand is a way that you can break a... Failed to pick a deck to play. Come on, I clicked on the fucking Aurelion Soul deck. Yeah, maybe that combat was a bit much. But we'll try and go big with the peak here. We've got the ramp to hit it. We just need to find some expensive stuff. That's interesting with the Fiora deck. I'm still pretty sure that the Targon's Peak doesn't reduce the backside, but that's something we should know. If you're going to go into battle at seasonals, you need to know how the cards like that work. The downside with the Faces of the Old Ones here is we don't have we don't currently have a ramp card. So if we play the Faces and then don't have the round start, then we can't play our Catalyst to the Aeons this turn.
Oh, well, RNG, the cutest thing of a day I ever did see.
All right, there's an expensive.
Follow me.
Probably my favorite one. Can we just take all this? I think it's okay. Heads up, buddy. Here's the Targon's Peak. FYI, shit's about to get real. Hit Blighted Ravine. That's unfortunately not Feel the Rush. And I'm leaning towards just killing off our Zoe here. And so we're looking to, say, play Blighted Ravine, play Zoe, play the Faces of the Old Ones. Ooh, this does not look like the proper sequencing. It's like you're going to hit your portals, they're going to grow, and then get blown up by the avalanche. LOL. Drop a little salt on that one. Well, that was cool, right? That was cool.
Beneath the waves.
That's less cool. I think we still have to drop the Blighted Ravine, but we can hold off on the Zoe now. Right, getting the Yordle captain off the board is too important. But if he gets clever here, we get to kindly Tavern Keeper our Faces of the Old Ones. And then if we get to 2 bank, we'll have the mana for Feel the Rush next turn.
Astounding curiosities lie ahead.
Trickster never loses because Zoe makes the rules.
Sure. Definitely happy to see Quietus hit Zoe as opposed to the Faces. Most definitely happy. Alright, who's ready for some KDA noises? Wiki wiki scratch bow chicka wow wow. Here it comes. Those are KDA noises, in case you weren't familiar with what was happening. Not many morph on the middle of the map, I can tell you that. Who plays this shit? Really? Okay. I guess that's a card. What more can you say in that situation? I guess you did something. It's like when you include a card like Passage Unearned in your deck, like how many matchups is it just 100% dead? Right? You play against that guy playing like Pirates, Scouts, and Poppy Tarek, and it's just a literal dead card. I don't know. Whatever makes you happy, I guess. As the kids say these days, sounds a little sus to me. Old man Bust coming through with the knowledge. It sounds a little sus to me. Alright, what turns up here? I don't really want Supernova in this match. I don't really care about popping off Zoe. Let's just pick up the Destroyer. The big thing with this was kind of seeing how close that we can get to flipping Aurelion Soul this turn. And realistically, we can't do that for 5 mana, but would have been sweet if we did. Okay. Are you all ready? Are you gonna make some KDA noises with me? Uh-oh, we got 2. There's a Nora flip.
I think I'm quite ready for a new adventure.
Feels good. The rush, that is. I enjoy the rush. Feels nice. What you got? That's a big hit. The Empyrean, Abyssal Eye, Genevieve. Those aren't 10/10s. We should be pretty safe here. He's under 6 mana, so we don't have to worry about many morphs or vengeances. He's got to worry about the KDA noises.
The wood can't fight back, but I can.
All right. Let's clear it out. I can't imagine he has a way to take down these Aurelion Souls. It's like he might have a way to kill 1 unit, right? He's getting this 7 power block onto our Zoe, sure. He might have one way to kill one of these, but I can't envision him having a way to kill 2 of our big boys and then stopping the Aurelion Soul Flip.
Order, entropy, a never-ending cycle.
Donger on board.
At my creation.
All right, let's play some Celestials. Got some stuns, got the Traveler. Okay.
I do love an audience.
He's got a Vengeance. All right, let's just lead off on the Donger here. We don't need him getting like infinite amounts of value. It's like he can play an elusive here. We can give up our Zoe if we need to. That's all well and good. We have a stun for the remainder of the turn if we actually want to pull that off. I don't really want to. It's kind of close, right? We can Celestial Wonder out of this and protect our Zoe, but I don't think she's going to do anything else this game. And like once he comes to having 2 more elusives on the board, then we can just switch over to playing a Crescent Strike. We might have even been a little hasty in dropping the Great Beyond. I mean, it is nice to have the blocker for Nora, I guess, but he missed out on some stats. The Traveler comes in. Not a particularly exciting set of cards, but Cosmic Inspiration's still good. Sure.
Portals everywhere.
More Cosmic Inspiration.
Now they'll pay attention.
And Aurelion Soul. All right, that should be the that should be the victory mark here with Aurelion Soul getting the full clear on his board. We'll lead out with the Cosmic Inspiration just to
Doors to adventure.
try and give them a little baits, see if they can't spend some mana. I think we're good. LOL Biggle Dust. All right. Good job, Ramp Deck. On to game 3.
You've been wonderful.
Timelines against Zoe. Not Zoe, Nora. I'm excited. Hope you are too. Where's our timelines at? That's not it. None of those cards are timelines. We can hang on to Time Trick, I think, and just play it on turn 2. Right? We're going to have a lot of time against the Nora deck to try and pop off with that. And so I think it's a reasonable keep, right? If we're going to play it on turn 2, then we get to look at 3 additional cards and a predict and then still play the timelines on turn 2. And we're really just behind like 1 turn of units. So not horrible. There it is. So yeah, ideally we would have gotten it down a little faster, but you know, turn 2's not that bad. It's better than turn 8. If y'all have worked on any of those mathematics, that should be pretty clear.
What wondrous discoveries await below.
He's not just naturally playing that, right? This is coming off of the Face Sprout, or coming off the Conchologist. Okay, makes sense. With the Pan of Pain, I want to be able to block here. probably go with the Weaponsmith after this. I don't know. It's 7 stats versus 6. The Crush Bot's, I guess, reasonably meaty at this point. Oh, fucking cats. You can see on the deck tracker that Hammerbro 13 should be in Masters, right? Looks like he's a 89 LP 202 rank Masters. Wonder if he's dealing with cats, though. the ultimate struggle. Are you dealing with cats right now? Alright, let's pick the Scout. Might as well go Hunting Fleet, right? That's a big old boy. Who's here to have some fun? Are you all ready for fun things? I thought that was pretty fun. Give me this big mountain of Scout stats.
Easy does it.
Yep. I did the mathematics on how much mana that took, and it was about 1 million. It was about 1 million mana to answer that Hunting Fleet, and so it buys us a ton of time. Now our Jax is ready to be flipped and everything. Pretty happy about that, but I'm going to lead in with the Aloof Travelers before we play Jax. I'd like to try and spike whatever removal spell this guy likes to play off the top here.
Look, a thing.
L, that's not ours.
There goes a Vengeance.
A quest? Leave it to me.
Not the scariest Yordle Captain. He doesn't have any portals at this point. Found one. There's a big boy. Look at you summoning up a big boy.
Just do your best, okay?
Alright, Comeback Cook. Take the Overwhelm. And Zap? Or do we want the Challenger? I think I kind of like the Challenger so we can go ahead and try and spike off the Yordle Captain here.
A good place to spike the light.
It's also going to put another unit in our hand. Right? Strike. Create another Challenger.
For Acacia! And you know what? Also for me! Sword, whoa, whoa, whoa. This ain't just a lamb.
Fight me.
Takers.
Get in there, squad.
You witless cretin.
Oh, our Challenger was Flame Chompers. I guess we're not really in a spot to be complaining, but, you know. we only deserve the best of things. We can still make these plays where we drop a Phareth and then Zonite Urchin out the Flame Chompers like we're playing like we're playing a real deck out here. Let's start with the Time Trick, see if something cool turns up. I don't think we need another Jax, right? Barrier Forge isn't exactly what we're shooting for. Alright, I'll just finally go for the stats with the Shepherd's Authority. Hextech Handler. Reasonable Bro.
Answers. I am
Incoming Donger.
The sun rock got me good.
I mean, he's at 6. I'm wanting to spout out this Mystic Shot, but that's probably worth just saving for the next turn. So let's put the Fish-a Whack onto the Challenger. This gives us a good challenge into the Conchologist, so if we just get to deal 2 damage, right, then we'll have enough for the lethal. put our quick attackers over to the left. I don't think that they're going to super matter here, but if he has some kind of magical lifesteal card, I want him to have to attack or take the answers to our quick attackers first. Pokey Stick and Vengeance. Okay. He's out of mana, so we'll just go ahead and drop the Mystic Shots. GG, Hammer Bro. Market a W, FTP bust. All right. Are we in the final battle now? Was that number 3? Do you all need any more stories about pizza rolls and their origin? Do you? All right, not yet. All right. Last chance for glory. I just got a slice of pizza from a place called Pizza Hut. Pretty top notch, pretty choice. And so I think we're good there. So, okay, with the decks here, like, I think we just have to ban out deep. I'm not really excited about trying to play a Trundlemere mirror match. It's not something that I'm super familiar with and will probably fuck it up. But I can't remember how these deep matchups are. We should just crush deep, right? It can't interact with our big expensive spells. And I don't care about Yasuo. And so maybe we do ban out the Trundlemere. This is like my concern, though, right? Is trying to play the Timelines deck into deep. I'm pretty sure deep just murders the Timelines deck. And so I'm going to run with it first and see if we can't just encounter the classic strategy we like to partake, is playing against your opponent's non-Yasuo deck and then just conceding. And then once you've got the non-Yasuo deck out of the way, you've saved yourself a little bit of time. And then you come out and just murder Yasuo the rest of the way because the decks are always garbage. And so it's a premier strategy for Mul FTP Bust. So is mulliganing into Timelines. We'll see how this hand plays out. We picked up the Timelines, but we picked up an expensive collection of units otherwise. Need a 2 or a 3. I believe in us. We can pick up something reasonable. We got these early Vi's ready to party as well. They're going to be stacking up the stats pretty quick. She says, take me out of the deck. I'm out here getting prepared for... what was the show even called? It's not Eternal. Eternal was the first word that came to mind. The League of Legends cartoon. F. I can't remember what it was. It was very good. I don't want to sound like I'm talking trash about it. It was a high quality television program, but can't remember what it was called. Arcane. There we go. Sometimes you just got to stop thinking about it. All right. Well, we got our free Shadow Fiend. That's always pretty cool. Looks like he's trying to set up a Ravenous Flock, which is fine. We have the mana to, save here if we want with Blades of the Fallen and keep our aggression up. Combat Cook coming in. I'm leaning towards the Amulet just because he can't block with the little dude, but I don't think that's really a concern at this point. Let's try and take him down. And apparently we're playing the Shadow Fiend deck as we come out and pick up Ren. Ren says, yo, dog, I got some more Shadow Fiends for you. Get ready for it. There's the flock. Okay. All right, seems reasonable. I mean, he doesn't have a board, and so got that going for it. She doesn't have a board, I guess. Mrs. Anonymous. Real close to getting these Vi's to flip. All right, Pan of Pain it is. And then the City Breaker, while tempting, I think we'll go with the Imperfectionist. Just more stats. Nothing wrong with just having more stats. We'll take the damage from Katarina. It's pretty far away from a lethal. This is an interesting one, though. He's making this attack because the Blade Twirler will recall to a 3 power, but I was going to say I don't see it getting much bigger after that.
Violence solves
So we could have blocked it with a 5 tough and been pretty safe. Alright, Shadow Fiend. Perfect. The Gift Giver is going to get us up to the Vi flip. I don't feel like Vi is going to do a lot this round. Oof. I guess she might be eating a concussive palm here, but I take that back. She is going to be doing shit now. Okay.
I dare you. Spear, blade, or palm.
So he's got a lot of stuns down, but that was a big investment before the Yasuo actually comes down. And so hopefully we're not in too much trouble here. What do you have to say about it, Reg? Exbliterator for Yasuo? Sounds good to me. Turn you into the biggest one here. That's the Taskmaster. Let's see where this stands.
Burn my gift.
Can't deny that, my dude. You can get out of it with Twin Disciplines or something, right? But no stuns, please. Or no denies. Entrancing Lure. That was a nice top deck. Let's time trick first, see what turns up. Another Entrancing Lure. So we can just hook in at will. It would definitely want to be putting a hook on the Acathian Mage. That's going to hook in one of these. The other one should probably just go on the Quick Attacker. So Challenger draw number 1. Challenger draw number 2.
Cut 'em up myself.
And I think we want to line him up like this. And so he should first and foremost need to be stunning our attackers, right? At least needs to be stunning Vi. But with our hooks, we want him to be stunning our worst unit, right? We would prefer him to be stunning the Acathian Mirage as opposed to Ren. And so he's going to want to be protecting his Yasuo. And so we're going to put the worst unit in front of Yasuo, the better unit in front of the Blade Twirler. And that'll hopefully give us an out in terms of saving the Ren. Okay. Pretty good strikes, but we've got a healthy amount of damage in here. We got 10 damage in. And then we still have tons of dudes just to add to the board. We still have two copies of Vi in our hand. So I don't feel terrible. What's the Hillock even hit? Well, I guess the scary thing with the Hillock is he's going to start dropping Katarinas. He can drop Katarina twice next turn to get 3 Yasuo stuns. But Yasuo isn't strong enough to strike down the Imperfectionist. Stun the strongest enemy is going to be the Imperfectionist. Okay. We haven't played a unit this round, so let's add in Fareth. Bark Beast isn't the biggest yet, but he'll be the biggest. He'll get an upgrade next turn. right, Shadow Fiend in. It's only getting one
This is not the way.
one thing now, right? You can only play Katarina once because he added the sentry to the board.
Who's next? Bring it on! Sword.
All right, so the thing I'm curious with is one of the bigger plays you can make with this deck, right, is putting Vi onto the board and then giving her Overwhelm. And so, curious if we had a way here to get a Vi strike in next turn. We're gonna if we play her, we just can't block with her. We have to block 2 other units this round. That I guess we can get away with just blocking the Blade Twirler, only taking 9, 10 from the Blade's Edge. That's a little scary, but it's a potential angle. Let's drop Vi and see what they do. Because I guess if we block the 3/2 with Vi, then she'll flip and be tough. Well, he could play the Blade's Edge in combat. Oh, she's already tough. Okay. So I guess you can't play the Blade's Edge in combat, though.
Try to keep up.
Oh, that's it? Fall to 4? This deck just doesn't play burn spells, right? The other interesting thing here is if we probably have to give Vi Overwhelm, but we do have the Vault Breaker in hand, and so we can pass out +6 attack next turn. We're not going to be able to get wider than them. Well, we can get wider than them if we Mystic Shot the Arachnoid Sentry. Okay. Whispered words, okay. Yeah, got a little bit more gas. Sure.
This might hurt.
Alright, Fam Jam.
Send them to the drink. A change is coming.
Trouble coming at ya.
Let's see where that gets us.
Let's dance.
It's a little worrisome without our Mystic Shot, I guess, but we're currently at lethal. Blade that okay. Oh, we are still short. What dies? Alright, says lethal. He just drew a bunch of cards. Ooh, that feels pretty lucky. He just drew a ton of cards, and so I'm surprised that he didn't have a stun. What? We got our victory. We got there in the end. Taken down Yasuo deck. Alright.
Gotta keep that light burning.
Gotta keep that light burning. You ain't wrong, my dude. Alright, feel the rush. See how it goes. Hydrate. Don't forget to hydrate. Then jump in. So what are we up against? Yasuo deck again. Can we talk trash yet? When do we when do we get to start talking trash about the Yasuo deck? And so I'm curious if I want to hang on to Vengeance. It's probably too greedy. It's just like so much of their game plan is centered on Yasuo that I'm curious to what degree that we could get away without or with hanging on to that. But we'll wait around a bit. This is one of these matchups where I'm not like super certain I want to be dropping the faces. Like we should probably just be dropping the faces all the time because we have all this ramp. But it does give him like a stun target, so it lets him have some opportunity to level up his Yasuo if he wants. But I don't know. Food for thought.
Everything's easier behind a mask.
Well, that looks pretty good. It's got to have like a deny for this, right? If he loses his Katarina and his Thorn of the Rose, they're just done. He doesn't have his Blade's Edge anymore because he played Katarina last turn. Oof. Oof, fam jam. Uh-oh. Opponent does not seem happy with the current state of the game. does not seem pleased. I mean, it's like we're just playing Feel the Rush next turn, but it sucks really bad if it gets denied. Like we're ready for we're ready for anything here with our 3 Vengeances. I feel a little bit better now that we have at least some bait. When you say bait, do you ever just want to make an uncalled for nasty choke? You say masturbate. Is that what you want? Is that how anyone feels? I said it. I went there. You say, oh bust, you so immature. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right, there's a play. Slap that Tryndamere right on the board, and then we can look to Feel the Rush next turn. Kyle's okay. Yeah, we finally got a play that he has to start answering, and so you got to start spending stuns and shit on Tryndamere. Oof. This game did not go right for opponent. How about you tap down to 3 mana? Is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask? Maybe it'll happen eventually. The baits. You know what we've done with the baits? We mastered them. There's the deny. That's what we wanted to see. Thanks, man. that's what I was waiting on. I hope you don't have another one. I wanna get the big takedown with the Feel the Rush next turn. Yasuo number 2 in hand. She Who Wanders is a different story, right? This is what I was talking about in terms of facing the deny decks, to where he needs to deny the Bale Sight, right? This game is essentially over if we get to obliterate everything. It has to hit like 5 cards in his hand, loses out on his Yasuo. But assuming he has the deny, right? The deny only hits the Bale Sight and we still get the She Who Wanders. It's much less scary than just slapping out a Feel the Rush, right? If this on this turn we just spent... if we just spent all of this mana dropping Feel the Rush, then we would have probably lost. Opify's fine. It looks like he's going for, you know, some kind of big scary play on this turn. I get that by spending mana on the Vile Feast that we can't Feel the Rush anymore next turn, but I think this is still all okay and well. We're going to take 10, sure. He doesn't have a great answer to any of our units next turn, but he probably doesn't want to get nugged for 18. Probably has to get nugged for 18, but he's not going to want to. And then we're still ready to be very defensive on our next turn. Okay. Not a problem.
Now who's got the upper hand?
Should probably go ahead and get the Vile Feast down this turn just to make sure we have a blocker for the Blade Twirler. I don't think this is a deck that plays Noxus Punchers. What do you call it? Brass Knuckles, Noxus Punchers, the Overwhelm equipment that you see out of some of these Ionia-based decks that have the likes of a... We can just block this with Tryndameres that die, right? If they have the like Fists of the Fury, whatever that shit's called. Here, it's a Might. He has a Might. He has a Twin Disciplines and cards like this. Let's see if we can't pull out a Deny. I'm going to go for the Vengeance. If this eats a Deny, then we can still play Three Sisters for the Flash Freeze. The Flash Freeze is a burst spell. It can be useful in any situation to where the Vengeance has potential to get denied. He's got a Yasuo. That's not bad. He drew all 3 copies.
Some didn't, but I changed their minds.
I think we're good. Watch this. Watch this. Are you watching? Do you feel it? Are you rushed? Do you feel the rush right now? I feel it and I like it. What if he has that 12 mana upheaval card? How bad would that be? It would be reasonably bad, right? Alright, Tryndamere, you flipped, bro. His last card, Concussive Palm. Okay. Absolutely. Your Yasuo strikes into She Who Wanders. Not that tempting. Not that juicy. Just soak it all up. Soak it all in. Feels pretty good. And there you go. GG. We got the last needed Prime Glory. We have the full stack. So when the last chance gauntlet comes around next week, you only have to play 1 match. Pretty cool. Good stuff. And so yeah, nice set of games. I think the strategy that we put forth actually worked out fantastically here. I don't know if we play against Nora in literally every single match. Well, I guess not that last one. He was playing deep. The deep in Yasuo and Tryndamere, but all the other matches, right? That especially, I think it's important to note when we were playing against like Kid Puncher 13 or whatever that guy's name is, that guy that's sitting up in the top 200. That's the kind of person that we're going to be seeing in seasonals, and they're bringing in the kind of lineup that we're hoping to see. Now, granted, I know as we roll into the seasonals weekends and stuff, the format's going to be completely different, right? We're going to have a massive amount of changes to the format, probably going to see changes to concurrent timelines. We may not want to be playing something like Jack's Vi anymore, but I think the remainder of this deck is strong. And if we want to kind of say theory craft about what's probably going to happen with the upcoming patch, it's probably going to be a heavy nerf to cards like Riptide Sermon. And that's going to make a fairly, I don't want to say Pirates is non-existent, but Pirates isn't like a real cornerstone of the meta anymore. And it should just fall away further. And so the further we fall away from the likes of Pirates, the more that we see cards like Sejuani Gangplank, and we see these decks that are just trying to crush through the wall of units. And then the decks are ultimately just slower. And if our opponent wants to play this like super slow, grindy strategy, then I say, cool, I'm going to play Feel the Rush. And I think that that's a pretty valid and strong strategy. It held up strong here. Again, we played against Nora a lot. We played against Evelyn Viego, not in match, but an opponent. And I think this kind of idea of saying, okay, I'm going to ban out the Ionia deck and then just play Feel the Rush is a pretty solid strategy. I just can't imagine that we would be running into too many copies of Scouts and Poppy Tarek and Lulu Poppy and these really Demacia-based rally decks. I think they've just gotten kind of pushed out of the format because they have so much trouble beating the wall of unit strategy. And then the Pirates deck has been pushed out just because I don't even think Heimerdinger Nora is good, but people fucking play it. And if people are going to play it, then it helps to push Pirates out of the format. And so for this weekend, I mean, I think we're on point. I think we got a really strong strategy for the final week of normal gauntlets. It's just going to be a matter of now seeing if this is still relevant in a week or two once the big balance patch hits. And so, good set of games. I had fun. I hope you had fun with it well, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I hope you also felt the rush. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.